This is an R Media podcast. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare. Love has never been one size fits all, and these are the stories we love to tell at the Australian Women's Weekly. For over 90 years, we've been bringing you stories of hope, of heart and connection that reflect the world we live in. And now it's time for a new chapter with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories podcast. Hey, Twisty, just calling to say hi and remind you who's still number one. Yeah, it's me. I've just been really thinking a lot about how much we used to compete over that, as well as ridiculous stuff like the size of our heads and all kinds of things when we were kids. I've just had a really beautiful chat with former Olympians and all-around legends, Cate and Bronte Campbell. They competed a whole lot in the pool, but I really love the way they've supported each other throughout life. It reminds me of you, and yeah, so I just wanted to say hi and I love you and I'll speak to you soon. All right, bye. Sibling rivalry, it's inevitable in any family. Growing up, my younger brother and I would compete over the most ridiculous things. Who got to sit in the front seat of the car? Who chose what we watched on the TV? Who had the biggest head? Look, don't ask, it was actually a thing. And the classic, who is mum's favourite? But while we might have competed, equally we were each other's fiercest champions in the face of any challenge from an outsider. Anyway, that got me thinking that with our guest today on Love Stories, that sense of growing up alongside your greatest rival, who is also your greatest champion, well, it must have gone to a whole other level. Since childhood, sisters Cate and Bronte Campbell have shared the same dream, and they spent 2 decades chasing it in the same pool, wearing the same green and gold. Between them, they've stood on the Olympic podium 7 times. They've broken world records and they've carried what must sometimes have felt like the overwhelming weight of the nation upon their incredibly talented shoulders. Cate retired from competitive swimming in 2024, and now Bronte has done the same. But while they're closing the chapter on swimming, if you know the Campbells, you'd know that just one closed chapter would never truly be the end of their story. Today, they're joining us to talk about how their relationship has withstood some of life's biggest tests, how they've supported each other both in and out of the pool, and what love looks like now that their childhood dream is beautifully complete.
I didn't win all my races and didn't have multiple medals around my neck. But Bronte also then wore those medals around the house all together, and they would clink because
I was 7.
Clink together, and you could hear where she was in the house. You'd be like, "Oh, yep, she's in the dining room. Oh, she's coming into the kitchen. Oh, now she's in the lounge. Oh, wait, she's right next to me." So I'd stole the medals and the trophy and hid them under my bed.
I'm Tiffany Dunk from the Australian Women's Weekly, and this is Love Stories. Bronte and Cate Campbell, thank you so much for joining us here at Love Stories. We're so thrilled to have you on board.
We're so happy to be here.
Yeah. Yay. I'd love to start by asking, we talk a lot about love languages today. Do you each have individual love languages that really speak to you and are part of your everyday life?
Yeah, probably quality time and acts of service would be my 2. So I am someone who likes to spend good quality time with someone, and then I think that I show love by showing up and doing acts of service for people. And I think that was modelled to us by our mum, who's probably his major love language is acts of service.
Aww.
That's how she gives love, as mother of 5 children. So there's a lot of serving that goes on there. So yeah, those would probably be mine.
Wait, what are all of them? There's acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation.
Yeah, physical touch.
What's the last one?
Gifts.
Gifts.
Gifts. Okay, so probably quality time and Physical touch. That was the one. Those ones for me, I think.
Well, you brought up your mum before, and I wanted to ask, what did love look like in the Campbell household when you two were growing up? What did love feel like back then?
What an interesting question. I think there's a lot of us in the Campbell household.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the eldest of 5 siblings, and I would say that love looked like working together to get stuff done. Like, it's always been a family unit, and there's always been a lot of juggling to get everybody the things that they needed. You think about just the logistics of 5 children all trying to do different things, and how do you manage everybody's needs and schedules and try and make sure that things happen for them. So I'd say there was a lot of that. There was never like you going off and doing things in isolation, because it always had to fit within this bigger family pattern of how do we make this work for all of us. And to be honest, like, swimming took so much time and energy and dictated a lot of how our family could operate. But I think that there was always this sort of give and take. And even though swimming took a lot, there was also like moments where I was like, okay, we have to take a back seat and someone else has to step forward and their needs have to be looked after.
Yeah, and I asked Mum about this a little while ago, actually, because, you know, since retiring from the sport, you gain a little bit of perspective by stepping back and viewing from afar, and just sort of thinking back and reflecting on the sacrifices that were made for me and us to be able to achieve our dreams. And there were sacrifices that were made by the whole family. And I asked if that was something that she struggled with or if she regretted it. And she said, oh, but it was really lovely because we get to go on the journey with you. And so I think that there was that aspect as well, in that we were all doing this together and they could be part of it in some way, even though a lot of the family schedule was around getting us to and from a swimming pool at ungodly hours as well. Like, let's just say.
Really the most unsociable sport you guys could have chosen.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really, really is. I mean, I think for 12 years, I think we did 4:30 in the morning, wake up, train 5 to 7, go to school, train 5 to 7, come home, eat dinner, be in bed by 8:30 because you're getting up at 4:30 again. So that's quite a lot, and it's a lot for everyone. Like, that's a lot of coordination to make sure that happens. Yeah.
You're the oldest,
Yes.
Kate. I think I've wondered about this. So I'm assuming swimming came to you first. Did it?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, because I was wondering if one hadn't have wanted to do it, would the other one have? Like, was that ever a part of the dynamic?
I mean, we were around the pool and around swimming. So I think what's really sweet about us and where we are now is that our grandmother used to teach people to swim in her backyard pool, and my mum was a artistic swimmer in South Africa. And there's been this, like, the women have, like, passed the love of water, like, down through that part of our family. Like, our first ever swimming lessons were in the backyard pool with Gran. But yes, when we moved to Australia then, this is when we were living in Africa, and then we moved to Australia in 2001. And I decided that, having just watched the Olympics in 2000, that I was moving to this country and I was going to become an Olympic swimmer. And I was just obsessed. I was obsessed, possessed. We moved.
Annoying.
We moved very close to a swimming pool, so it was about 600 meters. And I used to get up an hour before training started and walk down and wait and watch.
No, you used to get up and drag me out of bed because we had to go together because we were walking to the pool. This part Bronte just completely forgets.
I did forget that. I thought I went by myself.
No, I'm not going to send a 7-year-old kid walking to the pool by themselves. So yes, she had to drag me out of bed, who was not enthused about getting out of bed an hour earlier and watching.
I just wanted to watch all the big kids train because I thought it would make me better. So it wasn't until I won a bunch of stuff at, let's be honest, it was a very local meet. It sounds impressive when I say I won all my races and was age champion, but like, it was the most local of local meets. I wasn't actually that good. And it wasn't until that happened that then Kate decided that maybe this was something she should do too.
Because I didn't win all my races and didn't have multiple medals around my neck. But Bronte also then wore those medals around the house all together, and they would clink because
I was 7. Like, give me a
clink
break.
together, and you could hear where she was in the house. You'd be like, "Oh, yep, she's in the dining room. Oh, she's coming into the kitchen. Oh, now she's in the lounge. Oh, wait, she's right next to me." And so the ego of 9-year-old Cate couldn't handle it. So I did what any self-respecting 9-year-old sister would do, whose sibling, who's 2 years younger, has won a bunch of medals and is rubbing it in their face. I stole the medals and the trophy and hid them under my bed. And anyway, Mum sort of found them and sat us down, and very harsh but fair. But she said, like, Cate, you don't work hard. Bronte got what she deserved. You got what you deserved. If you want what Bronte has, you're going to have to work for it.
Oh my God, I love your mum.
Yeah. So I think that was when you started to be like, okay, cool. This is something I want to try hard at.
Yeah. So the older sibling copied the younger sibling in this case.
I was wondering because, like, my brother and I, I'm the oldest, he's the youngest, and we were super competitive about stupid stuff a lot of the time. Was there things that you were quite competitive about at home, like outside of the pool?
When we were a lot younger, and I would say a lot of my competitiveness comes from this, is that as an older sibling, you can just do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're physically bigger and more capable and more like, what's the word when you're cognitively developed? So, like, you can just do a lot more. So I was like constantly trying to keep up. But then once we started competing in the pool, we kind of stopped competing outside of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I also think that competition can be a really good thing, but when it gets in the way of like sibling interactions, it can just be annoying and it can just look like niggling each other. And we were 2 of 5 kids, and Mum couldn't handle that. So as soon as it started to get too big for your boots, she was like, "Stop it. I can't handle this because I've got another 3 of you who are also squabbling."
Yeah,
so,
I mean, board games and Mario Kart and all of these sort of things, it would definitely come out. But we were kind of taught to rein it in a little bit.
Yeah, for the sake of peace at the dinner table.
As oldest of 5, as you said, can you talk to me about what your relationships are like with your younger siblings?
Yeah, we're the eldest 2, and then the others, one who's 2 years younger, and then 2 years, and then 3 years. So I'm 7 years older and 9 years older than our very youngest sibling. And then brother Hamish has cerebral palsy. He requires a lot of care, and he always has. And he had a very traumatic birth. Mum and him got airlifted out to South Africa from Malawi straight away. I mean, Hamish, he's nonverbal, so how much he knows and how much he can communicate is sometimes hard to understand. But I think we grew up with him, just loving him for how he was, and the joy that he's a very joyful person in general. The joy that he could always
and he was always included, included in whatever we were doing or whatever adventures we were off to.
Well, we didn't really have a choice. We sort of just dragged him along. Like, I mean, when he was a lot younger, we could carry him a lot because he's not very mobile. So we just like carry him and just like run around with him, and he didn't really have much say in it. To be honest. And then we've got another sister as well, and we're just sort of, Hamish has been co-opted into being part of the girl group because
he even wore all our hand-me-down clothes, poor guy. Sometimes he'd be out like in pink shirts.
We just dress him up how we wanted.
Wow. How did I guess like being all girls and then having a boy who requires so much care, how did that change the family dynamic, or did it change the family dynamic?
I think it's a real testament to our parents that we loved Hamish totally and completely for who he was, not for what he couldn't do.
Yeah.
Like, there was never a discussion around all the things that he wouldn't get to do in his life, and like a longing and a wistfulness around what life could have been if he hadn't had the traumatic birth and sustained the oxygen deprivation, which resulted in cerebral palsy. So I think that it's a real testament to our parents that we never felt like we needed to feel sorry for either him or us because he was disabled. I can remember at at school, if I mentioned that I had a disabled brother, people would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and I'd be like, "Why?
Right.
Your brother's way more annoying than mine." Like,
Mine's actually great.
yeah, he can't talk back to me, and like we play games together. Like, he lets me dress him up like Harry Potter. I can send him to school, and so I think it was a real testament to our parents that we never wished that, or we never thought any less of him because life looked very different for him.
I would say that probably those wishes and stuff were there for them, and there was a grieving process for them when he was born. I'm so sure, but they never showed it to us as children. So we just grew up with like, this is my brother, as opposed to like, I honestly didn't even know what sort of disability Hamish had for a very long time. And people would be like, they'll ask me this, I'm like, I don't know, he's just Hamish. It's just Hamish. It's just what he is.
And I think too, probably, like empathy and seeing difference and celebrating difference is something that has to be taught sometimes, or isn't always evidence in everyday life. So to have that very present at a young age, I would assume has sort of set you up in a really positive way by both Hamish, your parents, and the support systems that you have around you.
It's very grounding as well. You know, you are constantly reminded how fortunate you are. You know, we would come back from a bad training session and you'd be angry or frustrated, and Hamish would be sitting by the front door, which is where he would sit while Mum was making dinner. And like you'd just walk in the door and you'd see him there and you'd say, "Oh, hey, Hamish," and he'd give you like a big smile and a chuckle, and you're like, "Yeah, okay, my life isn't so bad," you know. And then you're like, "Oh, maybe Hamish wants some water." And so you ask him, "Do you want some water?" And he can we can tell when he wants something. And if he indicates that, yes, he does want something, I'm like, well, how long has he been sitting there thirsty and hasn't been able to communicate something like that? And it is a very grounding perspective. And I think it helped us recognize diversity and the ways that people contribute to society. Doesn't necessarily like following the line of you get educated, you go get a job. You know, human beings have innate worth, and we saw Hamish bring so much joy to our lives and the lives of people around us. And I think it was really great to be able to grow up in and around that all the time.
What does it actually feel like when you think you've let down not just yourself, but an entire nation? We're going to talk about that after the break. Confession time, guys. I'm really lazy when it comes to my skincare routine. To be honest, I'm lucky if I remember to wash my face at night and don't even go into applying all those different steps of toners, serums, creams, all the different things. It's why Vixen's all-in-one moisturiser was such a game changer for me when I came across it last year. Just one step, done. But I found a new secret weapon, and it's become just as easy to add into my lazy girl routine. Vixen's Shake to Activate Super Vita Serum is lightweight, it smells divine, and it's really good for hydration. And I've got super dry skin, so that's been really great for me. All you need to do is just shake the bottle, apply a couple of drops to your face, and then whack on that moisturiser. And literally, what could be simpler than that? I'll let you in on another secret. If you go to vixen.com.au to purchase now, just add in the code LOVESTORIES, that's Love Stories, all one word, at checkout, and you'll get an extra 30% off. You're welcome. So you've talked about the pool, being in the pool. You've gotten competitive now yourself as well. How did you draw the line, I guess, between, that idea of you're competing, you really want to win, but also equally being happy for your sibling if they won or beat you? Like, how did you navigate that line as siblings?
We get asked this a lot. I think it's the thing that people are fascinated about, because sibling competition is very common in families, and competing, even if you're not competing literally in the same thing, there can often be this thing of like one-upping each other. And I think because our family is so different and the capabilities of everyone across the board are quite different, there wasn't ever a thing of competing for value within the family. You could celebrate performance, but worth was never in question when you were competing. And I think that I've spoken to other people where that definitely was a question. You're competing for your worth. So that's a really heavy thing to compete for every time. Our parents, if we came back from a race and we'd had a terrible time, it was more like, I'm disappointed for you. I can see that you're disappointed. I'm not disappointed in you. Like you are not a failure. And that was, I think, again, like that's the perspective. I mean, when you're dealing with like actual life and death stuff with Hamish when he's sick, like the idea of a swim, like blowing up at your kid over not swimming a second faster in their 100 freestyle it's just not that important. So I think the perspective that we grew up with really helped with us being able to handle the competition between each other, because from a young age we weren't competing for worth. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't always easy. Like it wasn't always easy. It's definitely a difficult thing. And because Cate's older, then she sort of forged the path ahead and she was expected to win all of the time. So for quite a long time that balance stayed the same, but I was getting asked for maybe 5 or 6 years, just people being like, well, when are you going to beat your sister? When are you going to beat your sister?
Even when I was the best swimmer in the world at the time. Like that's a huge thing to be asked.
You were like unbeaten internationally for 2 years and people were just coming to me all the time being like, when are you going to beat her? When are you going to beat her? As if any other thing that I did, if it wasn't beating Cate, was not good enough for other people's expectations. So that was frustrating. I used to get frustrated with people for asking that question because it's like, does nothing else matter to you? Does nothing else matter unless I beat that one person? Like that just seems like no one else in the world was getting asked that question except for me.
Yeah, because probably no one was asking anyone else on the swim team, right? Like, when are you going to beat your team?
You wouldn't initially just pit people against each other like that. And I've been asked that question since I was about 12 years old. So by the time I was on Olympic teams 10 years later and people asking me, I was like, this is the most boring thing you could possibly ask me. But because we always wanted to do this thing together, it was always part of our dream to do it together. I think if you can take a step back from the initial race, and often there might be initial happiness or disappointment after the race, if you can take like a broader step back and be like, we got to do this entire meet together. It's hard to do in the moment, but the more we could do that, the more we could be like, this is just part of this giant journey.
We also learned to give ourselves and each other space. So initially, when you've just touched the wall, you're in the couple of minutes afterwards when the emotions are really setting in. Either it can be joy for one person or bitter disappointment for the other. It's like, let them experience the fullness of that emotion in that time, so that someone isn't having to temper their happiness and someone isn't having to ignore or not acknowledge their disappointment. So go away, like have that time where you can feel the joy or the disappointment in its entirety.
Yeah, because I guess it wouldn't have mattered whether it was your sister or somebody else behind you in the pool. If they beat you, they beat you. And so you're going to be disappointed. If you won, you won, and you're going to be happy, right?
Yeah.
So, those emotions.
And it is always like, I would much rather that Cate beat me than someone else who I don't know or care about at all. I mean, the best races were, it's not even about who's coming first or second. It was like the best races, say like Com Games 2014, when you did a great 100 freestyle. I did my first ever time under 53 seconds. You came first, I came second, but we were both like ecstatic because it was a good result for both of us and faster than I had ever swum before. So like those are the best times, but you can't always have them.
No. I wanted to talk about the 2012 Olympics. That was the first time you both competed at Olympics together. You were the first sisters to do it. You were competing in the same race. How did it feel to get to that point? Like, what is your memory of knowing that that was going to be part of your stamp in history or part of your life journey?
Qualifying for those games together is my favorite moment from my entire career.
Really?
And, you know, I've broken world records. We've stood on top of Olympic podiums together and sung the national anthem. Like, I've carried the flag for Australia. But when people ask me, what is your favorite moment from your career? It is Olympic Trials 2012, the 50 metres freestyle. And it was our last chance to qualify together. We had to come first or second in that race to qualify and go to the Olympics and realize this dream that we'd had since we were 7 and 9 years old. And it's so interesting because we didn't talk about it before the race, but we knew that this was Bronte's shot. I was already on the team, so I had already qualified, but Bronte had just missed the final of the 100 freestyle by 3/100ths of a second, 5/100ths of a second, like the blink of a human eye.
Yeah.
And so, and the 50 meters freestyle, like there's no room for error. Anyway, there was just a feeling behind the blocks, and the race was taking place in Adelaide. And because of Hamish and traveling is difficult for our family, so our parents actually weren't there and weren't going to watch. And unbeknownst to us, our dad had turned up to work that morning, and his boss looked at him and said, "Eric, what are you doing here? You've got 2 kids who might qualify for the Olympic Games. Get on a plane, get down to Adelaide." And so he flew down, and we didn't even know that he was coming. And we hit the wall, and there was number 1 next to me and number 2 next to Bronte. And it is the only race where the only emotion that I have felt afterwards is joy. Like there was no room for anything else. Like there wasn't relief. There wasn't like, oh, thank goodness we've done it. It was just,
it was good.
It was pure joy.
Oh.
I mean, that's also my favorite moment. It was so special.
And I think 2012 had lots of different layers to it, and we probably didn't even properly get to process the emotions from 2012 because Hamish got really, really sick immediately afterwards. And it was the night of the closing ceremony, and everyone went out and had been to the ceremony, and we were all celebrating, and you come back to the village and everyone's like, great, what are we doing now? And Bronte and I came back to a message from our mum saying, Hamish is in intensive care. We don't know if he's going to make it.
Oh, gosh.
And it was this real like huge shift of I felt like we were sitting in like the eye of a storm because all of this whirlwind was happening around us and everyone was happy and celebrating, and we just sort of sat on the floor in our rooms and cried, and then have to make the long journey home. And so trying to get updates as you were coming through the various different airports. And then from there, he was in hospital for months and months. Dad had used up all of his leave, had to go back to work. So Bronte and I pretty much stepped off the plane and stepped into sort of running the household, getting our younger siblings to the rest of their school and trying to like resume life as normal. So the come down from that games in particular was very, very steep.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of processing time. Life moved on very quickly. And it's like that perspective thing again.
Yeah,
like,
again, I was about to say that's the greatest perspective of all.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Kate was incredibly disappointed that she got pancreatitis and had to withdraw from half of her races and couldn't complete the week. Like that is genuinely not a great thing to happen. But then like a few days later, it's like, oh, this is an actual crisis. Like it was, straight into survival mode for quite a long time for our family. And that's really been, Hamish has been quite sick since then. So while we were always able to manage his disability, it's like the sickness that has come with it that's been the harder bit to navigate.
Well, I was going to ask, how is his health now? And is that something that is still a kind of constant concern or
Yeah, it's a constant concern. He's he requires a lot of care, but I do very clearly remember being in London and everyone's like running around and like they're all like putting on their eyeliner because after they're going to go back out again. And we're just sitting there like, whoa, this didn't really feel real. And then the flight on the way home was horrible because it's a time where mobile roaming was not really a thing. So you're just sort of left in this suspension for 24 hours of just
what's going to happen
home.
at the other end of
Well, like, do I land? Do I still have a brother? Like, I don't know. And then we came off the plane and everyone's like, congratulations, you're home. And like they bring into this hangar, everyone's celebrating and they've got a band playing and everyone's like this big fanfare and you're just like, get me out of here. So it was definitely a duality going on at the time.
Yeah. Can we talk about the next Olympics a little bit and the experience there for you?
Rio was different in its own way. It was my most disappointing
Mm-hmm.
Olympics. And it's interesting now that I have retired, because there is a finality to the swimming chapter of my life that I can't keep writing the story. You know, like I always said that, you know, that different Olympics were different chapters of my life. But while I was in the sport, I could continue writing the story. And it's not that you can go back and undo past mistakes, but you can continue to change the narrative.
Right.
And so in Rio, I went into the 100 meters freestyle as the world record holder, the undisputed favorite. Like, I was supposed to win that race. And I didn't. I just remember the 24 hours before the race suddenly being terrified of what would happen if I didn't win. Like, I just felt like my only sense of worth as a person, as a member of the swim squad, as a Australian, was tied to this one result. And if I didn't do it, then what was I going to be left with? And obviously that's not
heavy.
It's heavy. It's a lot. But afterwards, there were moments that were so kind that broke my heart in a way, but helped begin to piece me back together. You know, I had members of the team write me a note and like leave it for me and saying all the things that they valued about me outside of my performances. By the time I'd gotten back to the Olympic Village, it was like 3 a.m. You know, it was so late. And I expected there to be, you know, I was just going to grab dinner and head back to bed. But there was a group of swimmers who had finished competing, and they were all sitting there. They had all finished their meal, and they sat with me while I ate my meal.
Aww.
And there was something so devastatingly kind about that. And it taught me a really valuable lesson, is that sometimes when people are going through something really hard, you don't need to say anything. You just need to be there. And I think that helped me rebuild. And, you know, I had other races to swim and other events in the next couple of days, and I managed to get through them. But yeah, it was a very, very different and heartbreaking Olympic experience in a very different way to London.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this, you know, the pressure. You obviously put a lot of pressure on yourself, and anyone does who's competitive and who wants to do well at whatever it is they do in life. But not all of us in our jobs have an entire nation watching on and feeling very personally invested in the result as well. So what is the reality of that feeling of knowing you're not just doing it for yourself, but for all these people tuning in at home? Is there pressure that comes with that?
I think you struggle with that more than I do. Yeah. The person who has put in the most work and the most sacrifice and who cares the most about my result is me and maybe 5 other people. Those are the people I feel responsible to and answerable to. In the best possible way, I don't feel that answerable to someone who's got nothing to do with the journey. Having said that, it's also an incredible privilege to go out and do that. Like, I never take for granted when you walk out and you've got the crest on this side and you're wearing the green and gold. And I mean, I used to say this very flippantly, but it's actually how I feel. It's like you've got the weight of a nation on your shoulders. You've got a strength of a nation holding you up. You're always going to have detractors who say you're not good enough, but you've equally got just as many people who are just like, they just want to see you do well. And that's where most of it comes from. Like, even the people that like, oh, you should have done this better or that better. Like, they just want to see you do well. So I never really struggled with it. I don't go online. We never really read anything that's written about us. If I don't meet that standard that I've set for myself, then I'm more annoyed than anybody could possibly be with me. So that's sort of how I viewed it. But I think you struggle with it a little bit more. Maybe because you're an older sibling, you're used to looking out for other people's feelings a bit more than me.
Yes.
But,
yes. And the thought of disappointing someone is just like, it makes me cringe. It's, you know, if you want me to do something, you just say, Kate, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I'll be like, okay, I'll change. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't be disappointed in me, please. So yeah, I do and did really struggle with that. And part of it is, I think that I, by nature, would really like to go through life as being quite invisible. Which is quite ironic because I'm 6'2". I have shoulders as broad as a house. Like I almost have to walk through doors sideways. They're so big. They're even bigger when I was competing. I chose an individual sport. So you have to stand out there by yourself in one of the most popular Olympic sports in the world and the most popular Olympic sport in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Like we literally have Australian icons who do what I did. So it is very ironic that this is where I've ended up versus probably what my nature would like me to do, which is just to like blend in the background, sit back and watch.
That's hilarious.
And so I think that I really struggled with being in the spotlight and having people talking about me and not knowing what they were saying and whether they were disappointed in me. And to be clear, like some people have been so wonderful. And I would say that the thing that surprised me the most after my Rio experience was the kindness that was shown to me by absolute strangers was more than the kindness that I could show myself. People would come up to me and say, "Congratulations, I loved to watch you swim." And it would feel like nails on a chalkboard because it was just so far away from how I was viewing myself. Like I didn't have the capacity to view myself with that kindness. So I will say that I have experienced that side of it. But I have also experienced the other side of it where people have come up to me and said, "Oh, you're that swimmer who used to be good," or "I lost money on you in a bet. Like, how dare you? You owe me money."
Oh my God.
Just
so dumb.
like and those are things that people have said to my face. I purposely have not read the things that were said online because some of them are just too horrific. And so and the way that my brain works is that like I hook into the bad things and they're the things that like when you're tired or when you've had a bad day, like they whisper back to you. And we all have that internal voice, but when you hear your internal voice verbalized back to you by someone else, a total stranger who knows absolutely nothing about you and the sacrifices that you've made, that is something that I have definitely really struggled with.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
It's intense.
It is.
It is.
But it's like, it is a wonderful reminder for me. Like I am a mad sports fan and I will cheer and clap and moan and all of the things, but I will always extend the kindness to the athletes who have tried because ultimately they're the ones out there trying and like you have no idea what is going on for them. And so like the idea of laughing at someone's demise or being personally angry or upset, I have never got.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It means the most to the people in the arena. I mean, the man in the arena quote, even though it should be maybe the woman in the arena, it's like they're the one doing battle. They're the one who are out there trying to do it and perform. And do you think that if they could have got a better result, they wouldn't have? Like, do you think they were just like, "Oh, today, I don't feel like trying that hard. It's fine. It's fine. I've worked my whole life for this, but it's okay. I think today I'm not going to try. That's fine. It's just the Olympic final or it's just the World Cup final or whatever it is." Like when I was very little and I said I wanted to go to the Olympics, people were like, "Oh, that's amazing. You want to go to the Olympics? That's so cool." You taught to dream big when you're young. That's a great thing. Then when I got to about 15, the school counselor was like, "You can't write that down. That's an unrealistic goal. That's not a profession. That's too unrealistic." And people start putting little caps on like Australia in particular probably has a lot of this culture of like you say something really big, it can be seen as quite cocky. And we don't love that. We want to be like under the radar and like not talk yourselves up. But there is something about having a big goal and saying, "I want to do this." And I think there's always value in that, even if you don't reach it. Like saying, "I want to go to the Olympic Games," doing all of that training, doing all of the work to it, even if I never got there, would still have been a valuable thing for me to go chase after.
Yeah.
Like shoot for the moon, you aim in the stars. That sort of vibe I think is great. And so I love to see people put themselves out there. It's quite a vulnerable thing to do.
So what is it like to walk away from something that you've dreamt of since you were just 7 years old? We're going to get into that after the break. See you then.
A warm hello to our new listeners. I'm Sophie, editor of the Australian Women's Weekly, and we're so happy you're joining us on this new chapter. For over 90 years, the Australian Women's Weekly has been a trusted home of real love stories, the kind that are messy and funny and quietly miraculous, just like real life, and just what we all need right now. Now, with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories, we're wrapping those stories around you in lots of new ways. Online, in your ears, wherever you are, making it easy as possible for you to enjoy. So, if you've grown up with the Weekly or you're just finding us now, welcome. And we'd love you to come on this new adventure with us, exploring every kind of love and the real things that matter to all of us. And because you're listening, and we value that, we've got something special just for you. A discounted subscription to the Australian Women's Weekly so you can dive even deeper into the stories you're liking. Just head to womensweekly.com.au to find out more. And thank you so much for being part of our Love Stories family. Now back to the chat.
You've achieved so many of those big dreams and, hit so many incredible milestones. At what point, and I can imagine it must be quite addictive in a way to sort of keep having those wins. So at what point for each of you did stepping away from that become a thought?
You have to be 100% in. For me, there's no point being 80% in because you don't get the gains that you need. You have to be 100% in.
Yeah.
And that 100% isn't just the hours that you're spending in the pool or in the gym. It is the whole lifestyle that goes around that. It is eating right. It is eating enough. It is not drinking. It is getting enough sleep. It is not doing activities on the weekend. It is traveling. It is, we essentially worked 6 days a week because training would finish at midday on a Saturday. And then you have a day and a half, which you are expected to do as much recovery as possible so that by the time Monday morning rolls around, you're ready to give 100% again. And to live in that day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out, you do create a bubble and you create a life that you can exist in, which can sustain the level of commitment that is required to be at the top, because our win-lose margins are hundredths of a second. Like the blink of a human eye is 6/100ths of a second. And so you need to put everything into it. And the older you get, the more heavy the sacrifices become to sustain that. And the longer you do it, the heavier the weight of the things that you're not doing. When I was 16, but I was sacrificing having like sleepovers,
Sleepovers.
I know, sleepovers. And, maybe it was spending some time with your friends versus when you are older, it's if you have a partner, spending time with them. As women, it's when do you want to start a family? Do you want to start a family? What does that look like? Is that possible under the training load that you have? Do you have
to plan it around a 4-year Olympic cycle?
Yeah. So the weight of the sacrifices that you are having to make gets heavier. And I think that the moment that you start resenting the things that you are having to give up in pursuit of your goal is the time to get a new goal, because you don't want to be living a life of resentment. Like, we get one life. And so make sure that what you're doing is actually what you want to do, and make sure that you're really aware of the things that you're giving up. And for me, the time ran out on that. But I also knew that after Paris, I was done. I was ready to step back. I was ready to lead a normal life, to have a weekend. My Saturday mornings are now sacred. Like, I purposely never schedule anything on because I've never had a Saturday morning ever in my life, since I was a school kid. So I think just being really aware of that, and when I was starting to realize the things that I was having to give up and the fact that I was resenting that, I knew it was time to step away.
Right. Did it help, Bronte, that Cate had sort of trod this path before you and done the post-swim life? Did it help when you came time to make your own decision to step away, that you had someone to talk to about it and an example that you could look to?
Yeah, I think it's definitely helpful to look to the people around you. And I spoke to Cate, I spoke to a lot of other athletes that have retired. But Now I run my own business. I'm doing things that I am not the best in the world at. I'm not even the best in the country at. I'm probably not the best on my street at. But you still have to step up and do it and keep learning and keep iterating. And success is not as linear and success is not as clear. And so working towards a very clear goal when you very clearly know how to get there and you're motivated to do it, that's a very nice place to live. It's like a lot of certainty. Now I'm in like this like swampy, marshy place where I'm still figuring out like where's the path to success and where am I just like stuck in the mud somewhere. So that's the level of uncertainty that I have to deal with now is very different from when I was pursuing something that was very clear-minded.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I haven't thought about that. If you're really, really, really good at something and then you try and go and do something else and you're like, I am literally the worst person in the room at this.
Yeah.
I've never thought what that would feel like. So tell us a little bit about that, your company and what it is that you do.
So I am CEO of Earthletica. It's a sustainable activewear company. So using recycled materials, low tox materials, making sure that we test for chemicals in it and rebuilding what a supply chain and what our bodies should have on them. I mean, it's been very interesting. We grew up in this space. We wear activewear every single day and then looking at it and being like, oh, all of this is made from new plastic and treated with really harsh chemicals. Is this really the best that we can do? Let's do something better. And for a long time, it's been, oh, that better doesn't sort of exist, but it does. There's people who have built really interesting fabric innovation out there, and it's my job to find it and put it in products that make women feel great when they work out, because like movement and working out, it's just given me all the joy in my life. It's given me like all my community, all my connection. All my favorite times are around movement. And I want that to be a joyful space for other people. And so building the thing that I couldn't find, that was something I got really passionate about. And we started it in the lead into Paris 2024, and then it's been something I've continued afterwards. So it's definitely with its challenges. I'm not gonna lie, but it's something that I feel passionate about. And there's a purpose there. In the same way that swimming gave me a purpose and a passion, I definitely feel that here too.
Kate, are you a fan?
It's beautiful, and I think that it's been really wonderful to watch Bronte take the same level of attention to detail and dedication and focus that she has pursued swimming with for all these years and translate it into something that she is very passionate about, but also is going to do something really good for the world. And I think that speaks to the two parts of Bronte that I love the most is her passion and her commitment and setting herself incredibly high standards and goals and then chasing after them with everything that she's got. But then that sort of hardness is tempered with this real desire to do something good, with this real desire to bring people along for the ride, with this real desire to care for people and for places. And she brings some of that enthusiasm, which if it was just left over in pile A, could like harden you, and she makes it a little bit softer and it's beautiful. And I'm very lucky that I get free activewear, which is really good and lasts a really long time.
Yay!
You were wearing some awful stuff, and I was just put on these shorts. And you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. I was like, yes,
really good.
That's hilarious. Well, obviously, wearing athletic wear is not the only thing that you're doing together. You've launched a podcast too, the two of you. Can you again tell us a little bit about it and how it feels to work with your sister in a very different space?
Campbells Co is the podcast. There's a few different sections of it. It's either talking to other Olympic, Paralympic athletes about their journeys and their stories, or it's delving deep on the sporting stories that are to do with Paralympic and Olympic sport. There is so much depth and so much to be told, and most of the time you only see this once every 4 years, but there's always stuff going on. And I'm really passionate about athlete stories and athlete being able to have a safe place to tell all of that. I'm also very passionate about being able to show behind the scenes and bring a bit of the athlete perspective to conversations around sport. So temper some of, like, we definitely have opinions about what's happening in sport, and being able to talk about that together has been really fun. And we've really enjoyed the process, to be honest.
We really enjoy watching sport, but I think that we bring a slightly different mindset to how you would discuss or view sport because of our time in it. And so being able to deconstruct that and pull that apart, it's like an hour a week where we just get to sit down, catch up and talk sport. Or if we have a guest on, we get to learn from our incredible athletes. Yeah, it's been really fun, and I can't wait to see what we can do with it.
Yeah, me too. We've talked a lot about the love that the two of you have for each other as sisters. Can I ask about the love that exists in your life outside of the sibling relationship and what love looks like for both of you right now at home?
Well, if we are talking about love, I'm about to get married.
Woohoo!
It's very exciting. I'm getting married at the end of August to my lovely partner, Adam, who is a geologist.
He's the rock in her life.
Boom, boom.
I never take him for granted.
There's a lot of
There's
these.
a lot of puns. There's a lot of puns. He doesn't have any involvement in sport, which is really nice and refreshing. So he brings a lot of love and a lot of joy. And I have recently got a puppy, and she's
got another man in her life.
Yeah, Bronte's going to roll her eyes. George, my little puppy, who I'm obsessed with. Like, it's bad. I now understand like the urge of new parents to like thrust their phone and show photos of their child because I'm like that, and it's just a dog.
Yeah.
And I'm fully aware that I'm like nuts, but I can't help it.
No, not just a dog. They're important, our animals. You'll speak. I don't have a dog. I've got a cat, and my God, my camera roll. It's a lot.
So he brings a lot of joy and a lot of love.
How about for you, Bronte?
I got married this year as well.
Yes,
so
congratulations.
Thank you. That was so much fun. It was way better than I thought it would be.
That's good.
So that was really awesome. And then outside of that, I love the community that I live in. There's something about being around the ocean, and there's an inbuilt community because everybody is outdoors around the water all the time. And so many people that I've met in my community, I just meet on the beach, and you're just there every day, and you see each other and you start talking, and you go have a coffee together, and suddenly you've got this whole community around you. And I'm down in Sydney. The rest of my family is all in Queensland. So I sort of have my little Bondi fam, which I love.
Lovely. Well, I guess like as we wrap up today, I'd love to know what you would like love to look like for your sister as her life progresses for each of you.
That's very sweet.
Oh, that's a beautiful question.
I think for you, what would I want love to look like? What I really admire about you is you bring a small group together and you hold them very tightly and closely, and you have these really long-term friendships and these long-term relationships. And so I just want to see that continue to grow and blossom. Like, I can't wait when you're 60 and you're there sitting there with someone you've been friends with for 40 years. And you're there being like, you've just got all this shared history. And I know that you'll continue to create that and that it'll continue expanding. I think your capacity just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bring more people in. So, I mean, I hope that's what I feel like not only do I hope that's what it look like, I know that's what it's going to look like. That's just sort of the person that you are.
Oh, that's so lovely. When I think of what I would like love to look like for Bronte going forwards, I always think that in her life, love and laughter are just inextricably linked. Like, they're just always coupled together. And we got to experience that at your wedding. There was so much love, but there was so much laughter and so much joy. And when I think of what I want for you in the future, I think more of that color, more of that joy, more of that chaos. And I do feel like you're exactly where you need to be to experience that, which is really wonderful. So without being cliche, like, I just want more of the same of what you already have, because I've watched you grow and blossom in that Bondi community. And yeah, there's so much joy and so much love there coming at you from all angles. There's the love that you give, but also the love that you receive, and it's a really beautiful thing to watch.
Oh, well, I love that, and I hope that for both of you as well. Bronte and Kate, thank you so much for joining us. I've just adored having you here.
Thank you.
Wasn't that an absolutely gorgeous conversation? You've got to give so much credit to the Campbell sisters' parents for how they've grown up to be not just Olympic champions, but absolutely outstanding human beings. The role that their brother Hamish has played in Cate and Bronte's lives is clearly something that has shaped them in some pretty extraordinary ways. And I really love that story about when other kids tease them and they'd be like, well, your brother's super annoying, mine's not. I'm really looking forward to hearing about what comes next for these two. From the sounds of this chat, there are plenty more achievements and a whole lot of love set to follow. You've been listening to Love Stories with me, Tiffany Dunk, for the Australian Women's Weekly. If you've enjoyed this ep, please let us know. I'd love it if you could write a review wherever you listen to your pods because it really helps other people find us. We'll be back next week with another glorious story of love, and I hope to see you then. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare.
This is an R Media podcast.